I'm competing with you, you're competing with me. You know? The devotee, when we become a devotee, we get out of this game of competition. No, who is my competitor? No. Who is a devotee? Who is your competitor? Well, the devotee should consider himself lower than the straw on the street, offering respects to everyone. If you can do that, who is your competitor? You see? So by taking up this devotional process, immediately, I'm not playing the game. When you do that, you're not playing the game. Makes you very different than everyone else. But we were talking last night, you realize there's a game being played here. Everyone's struggling to get their share and a little bit more of the resources here. You see, I understand how this is played. I understand as a devotee studying Srimad Bhagavatam, Bhagavad Gita, we understand everybody is out for everything they can get for themselves, and they're willing to offer some respect to God, some offering to God to get His help. And I don't need any of that. The devotee feels, I don't need, Krishna will always give me whatever daily bread He wants me to have. You know, I have faith in that, right? Is it, by the way, a little side trip, is it good to have faith?
Yeah. I don't see why not.
Okay. How long should you have faith?
Always.
Always? Forever?
Yeah.
We won't need it eventually.
We use faith. I have faith in reality that will come. So, when reality comes, what happens to my faith? So I have faith in God. When I get God, do I still have faith in God?
Yeah, faith is
It's only when
everything is based on absolute faith in the Supreme Personality of God.
But that absolute faith will turn into absolute knowing. Faith should take you to knowing.
But it's all based on faith.
Yeah. It's all based on faith. That's the boost that you need to get you there. If it's just like when I meet you and I think, wow, what a nice guy. I have faith that you're going to be a good friend. I don't know yet, but I've got that faith. And I start to analyze you and my faith grows. And after I've known you for a while, I know you're a good friend. You see what I mean? We're good. People say, do you have faith that he's a good friend? No, I know he's a good friend. You see? So faith should take us to knowing. So, as we travel through this material world, Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita that the living entity, this is in 15th chapter, 8th verse, the living entity in this material world carries his different conceptions of life from one body to another as the air carries aroma. Thus, he takes one kind of body and again quits it to take another. So we've got our conceptions of this material world and this life. We've got our own conceptions of what's going on here and what we want and what we want to do to manipulate the material energy for our benefit. Krishna goes on, the living entity, thus taking another gross body, obtains a certain type of ear, eye, tongue, nose, and sense of touch, which are grouped about the mind. He thus enjoys a particular set of sense objects. So your dream will change as you're traveling through this material world. But one time I have a desire for a beautiful female dog, you see, and I have a particular set of eye, nose, touch, and I'm attracted to certain foods, you see, certain smells attract me. Next birth, I'm going to have a whole different set of senses, a different type of tongue, eye, you see. My dream changes to something else. Now I want pretty lady, you see, or pretty handsome gentleman. You see? The dog may be attracted to a hole, and that's all he wants. He finds a hole that he can get in to get away from the elements. He thinks, oh, this is very nice. The dog never thinks, let me find an architect to draw some plans and then get somebody to build a nice house for him. The dog doesn't. See, human beings think, no, I don't want a hole. I want a particular kind of house. Not only does it have to give me a certain amount or certain type of shelter, I want it to look a certain way. Modern, colonial, because I want it to fit my image that I want you to see. You see? So here I am, living my dream, birth after birth after birth. And that's the situation we find ourselves in. Krishna says the foolish cannot understand how a living entity can quit his body, nor can they understand what sort of body he takes under the spell of the modes of nature. But one whose eyes are trained in knowledge can see all this. So the devotees of Krishna, we start to see what's going on here. It's like being in a dark room, and all you have is a very dim candle, right? So you can see the candle and maybe some light just right around it, you see? But if you turn on the bright lights, you can see the entire room. You can see, well, there's art on the wall, there's other people here, you see? So the devotee, through the association of those who can see, can give you sight as to what's going on in this material world. No, this isn't reality. This is a temporary situation that you're in here. And you're going to go from this temporary situation into another temporary situation. And from that into another temporary situation. It's all going to change. And therefore you're on your journey, your sojourn. Some people say it's your spiritual journey. Well, it's a material journey, just changing births. Spiritual journey means you start heading towards something spiritual. What's spiritual? God, the Supreme. Some people say, well, it's the universe. How can that be? You see, I hope I don't hurt anybody's feelings. The universe is very important to a lot of people right now. They think it gives you everything, and it's doing. We see what the universe has planned for me today. You know. I don't know about you, but I have a very difficult time having a relationship with rocks. That's what's out there. You know, lots of rocks, really big ones, and there's billions of them. So how are we having this relationship? What are the rocks doing for you? So I think that the universe is giving me or doing for me because I don't know the source of this universe. I don't know the truth, you see. I don't have enough intel, spiritual intel. I need to learn more. If we come in contact with someone who is a seer of the truth, then they can say, no, beyond the universe, there is the source of the universe. You see? And that source has a personality. And you, Krishna says, you have an eternal relationship. I discuss this verse a lot. 15th chapter, 7th verse. Krishna says, the living entities in this conditioned world are my eternal fragmental parts. Due to conditioned life, they are struggling very hard with the six senses, which include the mind. This is something we always have to remember. I am eternally a fragmented part of God. So he and I have everything in common, except he's vast and unlimited. I'm small, you see. We have everything in common. And I'm eternal. Krishna says you're eternally a fragmental part, so therefore there's not going to be a time when we're going to merge together. That's already been made clear. You're not going to do that. You're eternally fragment apart, which means we can have a loving relationship. You see, I need you to be there and me to be here for us to exchange love. So therefore we are fragmented part of Krishna. So that's the nature of this dream world that we're talking about. So, should I talk a little bit about Sri Damodar, or should we?
Sure, whatever you feel inspired by.
I'm inspired by all
There
of you. So.
we can have we were speaking about rocks. Govardhan's the only rock we can have a relationship with. Shalagram.
Yeah.
Yeah, we could talk. I mean, whatever you like.
All right.
It's all nectar.
Are there any questions so far? Comments? Yeah, we were talking about faith before. Krishna says in the first verse of the 7th chapter of Bhagavad Gita that if you become his devotee and practice bhakti yoga in full consciousness of him, you get to know me in full, free from doubt. Now that's another one of my favorite verses that I remember from time to time. Krishna makes that promise. That if I do this, if I become his devotee, I will know him in full, free from doubt. You see? So, this is what we as devotees are heading for. In our sampradaya, we want this. We don't want to keep God on the other side of the hill or in another room. We don't need God to be there to just give us resources. It's okay. I don't mean to criticize. It's okay if you say, that's all I want from God. Just give me stuff. That's okay. But you can go further than that. You can have the source of the stuff. You can have this beautiful, wonderful Krishna. And you're entitled to it. So, what's it like to associate with God? So I like this this story of Mother Yashoda. You know, Krishna. On this earthly planet, he was displaying so many beautiful pastimes, his pastimes of his childhood. And he was, let's just say, somewhat on the naughty side. A little bit naughty. So, yeah, it still always has this attraction to butter and yogurt. All milk products, Krishna is very attracted to. So he would go and steal the butter and yogurt. And it got to be a problem in the neighborhood, in Krishna's hood. He got to be a little bit of a problem. The neighbors were coming, Yashoda, Mother Yashoda. What? Krishna's at it again. He's stealing my butter. I mean, he didn't ball around to eat as much. They feed it to the monkeys. Well, gee whiz, why don't you hang it from the rafters? We tried that. And somehow or other he gets up there and he gets the butter and he eats it. So this keeps going on. So finally Mother Yashoda realizes I've got to do something. So I got to get this Krishna. I guess I'll just tie him up. You know, what else can you do? I'm going to tie him. What would Child Protective Services say?
Time out. Extreme time.
Yeah. So Mother Yashoda's, all right, I'm going to get Krishna. So she grabs her whipping stick and she takes off after Krishna and he's running. No, Mom. Oh, now, was Krishna faking it? Was he afraid?
Yeah.
Yeah, he was afraid. This is real. This is no dream. This is one of his eternal pastimes. This wasn't something that just happened. No, this is always happening. You see, and Krishna's in that part of the sun. And Mother Yashoda was in that part eternally as a mother. Yeah.
When he was little, did he have the mind of a child?
Yes. But he's still the Supreme Personality of Godhead. He was God, but he was manifesting as a child. So he ran and he was crying, rubbing his eyes, and so she caught him and decided, I'm gonna tie you up, Now there's different, some of our songs of Vaishnavacharya say that he was tied to a wooden grinding mortar, and some say he was tied to a grinding stone. There's even a place in India that has that grinding stone there. I've got a picture of it. So whether it was the wooden mortar or the stone, we don't know. It doesn't matter. Something very heavy. Okay, she's going to tie Krishna just to keep him from winding up and getting her butt. So she takes this piece of rope, which she used to tie the cows, So she puts it around Krishna's waist, and he's just a little kid, And it's 2 fingers too short. She can't make it a rope. So then she grabs another rope, ties it together, and puts that around his waist. Again, it's 2 fingers too short. So, without dwelling on that, she gets another rope. And she's struggling, rope after rope. And every time, when she puts the rope around Krishna's belly, it's 2 fingers too short. She can't tie a knot. So she's struggling. Combs from her hair fall, and she's sweating, and she's struggling. And Krishna sees his devotee struggling like that. And so he surrenders. And he allows her to tie him. You see? Okay. Out of love, you want to tie me. No one can tie me. And my belly is the source of the entire cosmos. No one can tie me. Except for you. Because you love me. So you can tie me. You can conquer me. I'm unconquerable. But you can conquer me. So she ties Krishna up to this heavy object. And then he crawls between 2 Arjun trees and releases the 2 souls. Monagreed and Nalapur. Yeah. Who had been cursed to stand as trees, and he released them. So this is this month of Damodar. We're celebrating this. What's the gist of what we're talking about? Is that Krishna, although he's unconquerable to some, to most, he is conquered by the love of his devotees. He's conquered by love. So, in the spiritual world, there's and this has nothing to do with politics, Democrats and Republicans, but there's the left wing and the right wing gopis. There are gopis who believe service to Krishna is one way, and gopis who believe that it's in another way. Some gopis believe that I am Krishna's. Some gopis believe Krishna is mine. And they're both right. You are Krishna's, and he is also yours. If you can manifest this love that you already have, it's like nobody can give it to you. It's like we hear a lot of people like Tony Robbins and people like that talk about empowerment. That's garbage. Nobody can empower you. You are an eternal, fragmental part of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. You are empowered. You are eternal, fragmental part. You have eternally always been empowered. You will always be empowered. You are right now. You just lost track of it. You see, you lost your faith. You lost that love and feeling.
Why do you think that happens?
Because I wanted to come somewhere else, get away from Krishna, and enjoy separately. I struck out on my own to do it without him. I wanted to be the center of attention, maybe even God. You see? Maybe I can be the wealthiest, most famous, strongest, you see? So that's how we get ourselves in that predicament. And then our consciousness gets clouded over like dust on a mirror. We can't see the truth anymore. We can't, we lose track of the truth.
I read that video last night, actually.
Yeah. We've lost it. We don't know anymore what is right. And all we know is this dream that we're in and this perception that we have of what is reality. So I'm going to conclude by another one of my favorite verses in Bhagavad Gita, 4th chapter, 34th verse, where Krishna says, just try to learn the truth by approaching a spiritual master. Inquire from him submissively and render service unto him. The self-realized soul can impart knowledge unto you because he has seen the truth. Where did he get the truth? From his guru. Where did his guru get the truth? From his guru. And so on. All the way back to Krishna. So this truth can come to you. When you get it, what do you do with it?
You share it.
You get it. You should become guru. You see? This is our process. You get it, and then you get it. And therefore you can change the lives of people that you encounter. If you want to. You may say, I don't want to. But if you understand this philosophy, there's no way that you'll be able to keep it within you without sharing it. It's not possible. You feel like you explode.
Yep.
You know? You have to. Because it's the real truth. It's the real deal. So, how am I doing on time?
No, right now the time.
Like another 10 minutes or something, and then we can do Pushpanjali, and then we'll do Damodarastika.
Yeah. All right. Questions? Anybody? Discussion?
Deborah's got a question.
Yes.
Are we the only ones that are material in creation? Did Krishna like appear to other entities in their form?
Yes.
You mean human beings?
Yeah, are we the only ones material? Like we can't see any other creation like entities. And did Krishna appear to those entities in their form to be able to relate?
I don't know if I fully understand.
So, there are some entities that have subtle material bodies. In other words, they have a,
Oh, the Buddhas. Buddha. Ghost.
yeah. And also in other kinds of entities that don't have they have a material, their body is material, it's just not gross like ours. But it's still,
It's not perceivable by the
Yeah.
senses, like a ghost. Ghost is a soul, and they have a subtle body, but we can't perceive it through our 5 senses. Now, if we had spiritual senses, we could perceive their existence. We can't perceive a ghost unless they do something, something that causes us to recognize them through our senses, like move something or like that. So
there's like other planets, right? Like that people
there's
can
another
ascend
one.
into or descend into?
It's like there are the higher planets and there are lower planets. The Earth planet is somewhere in the middle.
And
Lower
does-
planets are very hellish.
Does Krishna show himself to people in those planets?
Yeah, but are you talking about there are 400,000 species of human beings. So of those human beings, they can actually perceive or wonder, is there a God? And start to pursue that God. In the very lowest, are they able to achieve God? Gee whiz, I don't know. Perhaps their desire to have God will cause them to take a better birth, and in a better birth, I'm not so familiar with how that would happen. I don't know. Jivananda, Prabhu, do you know? Have you read?
Well, Vamdev appears before the demons, so there's the fish incarnation, Matsya, there's Kurma, there's boar incarnation, Varaha, Kurma being tortoise, and so Vishnu appears in various forms, and in one place Prabhupada kind of indicates that that's I can recall that it's subtly indicated. It's not, I don't recall it being directly indicated that these incarnations appear within those species, but at least the idea is there that the Lord appears in various species for the advantage of not just humans, but for many. The Lord appears also in incarnations, or at least partial incarnations, among the devas, the demigods, Narada Muni's empowered incarnation. So Krishna, Vishnu appears in various forms throughout creation. Is that your question?
Yeah. Even in like the Krishna book, when we're going to talk about Govardhan next, when he came as Krishna, even the demigods didn't really understand who he was,
right, yeah.
And so like they have even a broader scope than we do as humans, but like they test Krishna to see who he is, and then Krishna kind of reveals himself to them in different ways.
Well, some of the confusion that I've seen that people have when they're becoming Krishna conscious is that we start to take this material intelligence that we have, which is full of all kinds of material conceptions about, which is generally based on some speculation or superstition, which is speculation, basically. And we try to make sense of what we think we already know based on Krishna consciousness. When basically what we should dive into the knowledge that Krishna is giving us as he manifests in Srimad Bhagavatam and Bhagavad Gita. Which will happen, that happens to, it's like when if you're in a dark room and you turn on the light, the darkness goes away. So the speculations and superstitions and that is not will leave in the presence of that really is. You see what I mean? So it's easier to understand if we absorb a lot of transcendental knowledge. And then the things that we may have, concepts that we have, will start to wither. Or they may be true, and we'll start to understand them. But we'll start to disseminate. We'll start to understand the difference between illusion and reality. And until we get a firm grasp on what is real and what is not, then we're just trapped in this material world. We're still in the dream. We can't tell the dream state from the real state until we actually can tell through intelligence, spiritual intelligence, what is real and what is not. So I remember when I became a devotee, I had all these conceptions about beings and things like that, and I got a lot of it from people who did a lot of LSD and listened to a lot of Black Sabbath, so then, but I noticed that 99.99999% of what I thought was real just kind of fizzled away once I got a hold of the truth, you see. So Srimad Bhagavatam gives you the absolute, the real truth. How the world was created, what kind of entities are here, and stories that shows how they perform. You see what I mean? All of reality is in Srimad Bhagavatam. And if it's not there, it ain't real. You see, Krishna can do that. Krishna is so potent that in what we would refer to as a book or a series of books, he can manifest the whole truth. You see. Now you would think that if the whole truth were manifested in books, it would be like billions of books. Krishna can put it into 12 cantos of Srimad Bhagavatam. The entire truth, you see. So get fixed on that knowledge, and then you'll know. You'll know.
I would thought. So what you were just talking about is those that, we live in the material world and our five senses, but then we start learning, from the Gita and all that other stuff. But yet we still have to get up and go to work, interact with others that are still in that, not in the same place in the mindset we are, as we are trying to practice and implement those teachings. So what feedback would you have on how to grasp that in the very beginning?
We have to start performing all of our activities, all of our thoughts, our words, and our actions as an offering to Guru and Krishna.
Okay.
Then everything takes real meaning. So one day I may be an engineer, and I'm not Krishna conscious at all. After some time I become Krishna conscious. I'm still an engineer. I still work in the same office. I still do the same stuff, except I'm doing all of this as an offering to Guru and Krishna. So now my very activities are prasadam. I'm doing this as an offering to Krishna. Do I get paid for what I do? Yes. It's just like if you make a pot of sabji for Krishna, like your husband made that nice pot of sabji last night. If you take out a little bit of that sabji, put it on a plate, and you offer it to Krishna, what happens to that?
It becomes no different from Krishna.
Right.
Yeah.
It becomes prasadam. Krishna's mercy.
Yeah.
What about the stuff that's in the pot?
Same thing, right?
Oh yeah, it becomes prasadam too. So when you work and you get paid, paycheck comes in. Of course, they don't give you a check anymore. It's just they increase the numbers in your computer.
Right, yeah.
Yes. It's funny how they did that. They used to give you
Only
money,
months, yeah.
then they give you a check. Now they don't give you anything. You just go into your account. Numbers are bigger. Wow.
I refer to it as money laundering.
Oh, there you go.
That's what I refer to. You're cleaning what you're earning by dedicating it to Krishna.
Right.
Okay.
You received compensation.
Yeah.
You take some of that and you offer it to Krishna. That becomes prasadam. So does the rest of your income.
And Krishna also understands, Srila Prabhupada says in one of his purports that, ideally we would keep 50% of our income for our family it's 50% to Krishna, 25% for the family, and 25% for emergencies, or am I getting that mixed up?
Yeah.
But he said this is Kali Yuga and most people can't live like that.
You can't.
So Krishna understands we're in
I don't know any place where he says that. You'll have to point that out to me later.
I'll see if I can find it, but he does say that that it's like 2 or 3 lines after that. He said this is Kali Yuga and most people can't achieve that.
He says that there's tremendous difficulty.
Yeah.
Why is there difficulty? Because we live in this complicated Western society, and there's so many things that I believe that I need, must have. If I live a real life of living on a little piece of ground with a cow, and I have all that I need from the yield from my cow and from my garden and my efforts like that, I can easily live on a little bit of what if I produce more and more, I have plenty. So what happens in the Western world, if I make more, I get a bigger house, and I get a more expensive car.
So you can put more stuff in it.
I just put, I get more stuff in a bigger house, So can we do it? Yes, we can. It's a bigger struggle to train ourselves to do that. But that's the point. We start to live in such a way that we think, our words, thoughts, and actions are just an offering to Guru and Krishna. So now our life has become spiritualized. It's become perfect. Even though we're doing the same activity as the person in the office next to us. You see? Does that make any sense?
It does make sense. I think I'm just going to have to practice to implement it, and then
It can seem like a struggle in the beginning, but it gets, it's like anything, after a while, it gets to be, you get used to it, you get good.
I mean,
Good at it.
even if you just, when you go in your office and you sit down at your desk and you like silently chant one Maha mantra or something to,
yeah.
that's something that at least triggers your mind.
I remember in my household days, I always had a project that I was earning for. I had plenty. So we were gonna build a Tulsi house in Dallas. I don't know if anybody's been.
It's a very beautiful Tulsi house, very big.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I decided that was gonna be my project. I was gonna build that. And Sri Prabhu, my godbrother, did the plans on that Tulsi house. And so Tamal Krishna Maharaj asked me, what do you think of this idea? And so I was there in his office with Sri Prabhu, and I said, wow, that's a great idea. The Tulsi's gonna have like a temple. And I said, what'll something like that cost? And Sri had figured out it was gonna cost $20,000. Now this is back in the 80s.
Yeah.
I think it was the 80s or 90s or something. It's a long time ago. It cost a lot more than that today. So I started thinking, wow, I got this deal that's about to close, and I've got another, I'm pretty sure. And I said, okay, I can do it. And Tamal looked at me and he said, I don't want you to do the whole thing, you idiot. If you do the whole thing, then the rest of the community will never kick in a dime. I said, well, okay. She said, so he came up with a plan, and this is what we did going forward. Why don't you match anybody's donation? So you can do half. So if somebody kicks in $100, you kick in $100. They kick in $500, you give $500. Said, let's do it like that. And I thought, okay, that's fine. Yeah, we'll do it like that. So then we did that with the Pajari room that we did, Krishna's deity kitchen, the floor. We had this nice granite floor that we put down in the hallway, and all these different projects. So I always had these projects, and it was always fun, And I just go around, hey, we got a project. We're going to put out a granite floor. What do you think? Oh, yeah. Can you kick in $100? If you do, I'll throw in $100. It was fun, you see. So, and I didn't know it at the time, but it's a gift that keeps giving back to you. Every time I go to Dallas, I see that Tulsi house, and I see that floor, and I see that Pajari room, and the deity kitchen, and it's still there. I still get some reminder, that wow, it wasn't like I was just working for nothing for all those years. The granite hasn't worn out yet on the floor. So
That's metaphorical.
yeah, and this is Grihastha life. And Grihastha life does like that. The
Yeah,
Grihasthas,
greenhouses are supposed to support the temple.